Good afternoon. My name is David Yarbrough. I am 55 years old. I am a 34th year junior here at Southeastern Oklahoma State University. I live in Northern California, in the heart of the wine country. I tell you, this is by far one of the most beautiful places I've ever lived, and I've lived in lots of different places throughout the United States, but this is truly a spectacular region to live in. I am 30 minutes north of the Golden Gate Bridge. I am 30 minutes east of Napa. I'm 25 minutes to the ocean, and I'm 3.5 hours from Tahoe. And if I feel adventurous, I'm 5.5 hours from Yosemite. So as you can imagine, anything you possibly want to do, any activities, any wine trips you want to take, this is the place you want to be. I did, well, as I say, I'm a 34th year junior. One thing about me is I actually attended Southeastern back in 1983 to 1986. I was a theater major. I worked under Molly Rizzo. If any of you are involved in theater or know any of the theater people, Riley Rizzo is kind of heading that department now. Riley was just a little kid when I was in school. So I remember Riley just following Molly around all over the place. Also, if any of you happen to know or heard the name Ben Chappell, Doc Chappell was a fan of mine, if you know what I mean. I didn't swing that way, but Doc was a good guy. He always liked being around me. He loved my voice. He always said, "David, you have one of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard. You should be in radio." So, of course, when the time came, I did get involved in the communications department. And I have the privilege of being one of the first and possibly only, I don't know this for a fact, DJs ever kicked off the air for swearing, and actually still winding up with an A in the communications class. How all of that transpired is a story for another day if any of you are interested in hearing. But while I was at Southeastern, like I mentioned, I was a theater major. I was part of the Oklahoma Shakespeare Festival. Lots and lots of different productions that we did, not only with OSF, but in the theater department as well. I was, after my first year, on full scholarship. The reason for my scholarship was technical theater. I was really good with using a hammer, extremely good at managing the behind the scenes aspect of how the whole entire theater production worked, from ordering the materials to working with the blueprints to helping manage the different individuals who were in the theater department, building the scenery, putting it all together, and then getting it on stage and presenting this finished product for the audience to not only enjoy, but when they walked through the door, they felt as if though they were in the setting that we had created. And even though the actors are the one doing all the work, if your scenery doesn't match what's going on, you don't believe, and you aren't part of the production at that point. One other little snippet is I was actually friends with Dennis Rodman. I used to play basketball with him outside of North Hall. I didn't play basketball. I wasn't on the team. But as friends, we'd get together in the evening after dinner time, and we'd go out to the little basketball court outside of North Hall, and we'd shoot hoop. He was very generous in letting me make a shot or two. Never sat there and just slapped my stuff away, which of course he could have easily done had he chosen to, but you know, the objective was not to make me look foolish, but for us to have a good time. No, he wasn't like his personas that he created when he was at Southeastern. He was actually kind of a quiet guy and very, very shy. So if you made friends with him, you were friends. I left college in 1986 to go work professionally in the theater. I was offered a job in the technical theater working for the Arizona Theater Company. And my thought was, you know what? I've spent all this time in college to get the opportunity to take a job. And here this job is being presented to me. Why would I not take it? So after 3.5 years of college, full ride, I walked away to go do this job. And in hindsight, I don't regret any of it. You know, everything that you do through life leads you to that next step. Every step that you take is moving you forward. No matter what direction it's in, you might be on the left side of the street, you might be on the right side of the street, but if you're moving forward, you're at least taking proper steps. I realized after 3 years of working professionally, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I loved the work. I didn't like the transient society. Having grown up as a military brat, we moved all the time. You know, the longest I ever lived anywhere, while actually up until I got married in 1991, the longest place I'd ever lived was 3.5 years. So we were constantly moving. And Southeastern, my stint there from 1983 to 1986 was actually the longest I had been anywhere. So after, like I say, after 3 years, I decided it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I moved back to Texas at that point. Which, as things transpired, you know, a handful of years later, in year 2001, I wound up moving to Northern California, and here I sit. So one of the questions would be, why am I back in college after all this time? It's been 34 years. Well, one of the reasons is when you take a job, when you're applying, you're putting your name on a resume, and you're writing on your resume, you're putting your name on the job application, you're putting your name on the job board. One of the questions they ask is, do you have a degree? If you say no, you're automatically eliminated. You won't even be part of the category or the part of the group to take this position. And let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a professional accountant. I am not a CPA, but I've been doing accounting work for the past 25 years. I have transgressed and moved myself up the ladder to where I am a corporate controller. And even at that point, I've got all of this experience. I've got years worth of controller experience, years worth of director of accounting experience. For me, I still can't, I still have to lie on my resume, and I still have to lie on the job applications, or they get booted out. I'm tired of doing that. I'm tired of lying. So I decided to just look online and see what Southeastern offered, and happenstance, they've got a BBA program that you can do online. So here I stand today after 34 years trying to get my degree. One of the other things is, once you lie, there's an extreme fear of getting caught. You know, you're always worried about, is somebody going to ask for that transcript? What happens if? So rather than continue the lie, I just decided to buck up and get it done. And also, my son, who is 25 years old, decided he wanted to follow in my footsteps, and he is working on getting his accounting degree from the University of North Texas. He is 1 semester from being completed, and with that 1 semester, he will have his exact same business degree as what I am working on here at Southeastern. They happen to have the same accreditor. So it was just one of those things. I'd been helping him with his work all along through his college stint, not doing it for him. He would get, you know, behind, or he would have a question he couldn't figure out an answer to something, and we would communicate with each other. So I would reach out to him, say, hey, how can I help you? He would reach out to me, Dad, I need some help with this. And then I realized, wait, I'm doing all this work with him. I know how to do all this stuff. Why don't I just take a look at Southeastern and see what happens? And boom, here I stand. One of the other interesting things when I was looking at all of this is I found a way. Now, as you can imagine, I was not an accounting major. I was a theater major. So I've got all of these classes that I still have to take. None of them did I take when I was at Southeastern. None of them did I take anywhere else. But what I discovered is there are, and this is something for everyone to hear, no matter where you are in your educational process, take a look at this. There are these things called ACE certifications, ACE certifications. And there are about 50 different ones that you can take that if you pass these courses and they qualify for credit, they will take the place of you actually having to sit in class. Same thing with CLEP tests. You may have heard of CLEP tests. If you have an opportunity to test out of any course possible, please test out of those courses. I found out that I could test out of 15 different classes here at Southeastern. 15 times 3 is 45. That's more than half of the courses that I needed to take, and not at $850 a class, but about $75 to $100 a class. So I'm saving over $8,000 just by taking those courses. And they're not that difficult. They literally are, do you understand it? And if you don't understand it, here are tests for you to be able to take that can help you understand it. Once you're done, take the test. And if you pass the test, you get credit. And you don't have to take that class at the university that you're attending. So like I say, I saved about $8,000 and I'm getting half of all of my classes. One other side note, I finished 8 classes in 2.5 months over the summer. Yeah, that's right. 8 classes in 2.5 months by doing nothing more than doing a review. It would take me about a week to do a review on each class, sit for the exam, take the exam. You have to get a 70 or above in the ACE certifications for them to count, and you get the class. But here's the kicker on all of this. You have to meet with your department chair to make sure that the classes that you're wanting to take will transfer into Southeastern. You get the approval from the department chair, you're golden. So what is my end game? Obviously, the end game is my degree. But there's also a little additional thing that I would like. After all of these years, I know there are certain parts of accounting that I would like to know more about. One of them is governmental and nonprofit accounting. In my world, there are lots of jobs out there in the government industry, and there are lots of jobs out there in the nonprofit sector. I've got a little bit of nonprofit experience, not a whole lot, so I wanted to learn more about that. So this is giving me an opportunity to kind of get a double-faceted reward for this. I'm getting the additional education, and I'm going to wind up getting my degree. Same thing with income tax. I've been doing income taxes since I was 16 years old. Not with TurboTax. Back in the day, we used to have to do them on actual paper and mail them in to the IRS. So I've been doing income taxes for a long time. But I wanted to know a little bit more about them and understand a little bit more on what the intricacies are and what are some of the little secrets to doing your returns correctly and finding those little things that can help you out. Lastly is forensic accounting. I'm very excited about taking a forensic accounting class because in my world, if you can look at the accounting structure of a business and know how to break it down, you are so valuable to your employer because you can make sure if there are any issues going on, you can bring them forward really quickly and you can help take care of any problems before either they get to be a real problem, before they get to the board of directors, before they get to your auditors, way before they get to the IRS. I've never run into any real problems. Most of them are very simple things that, you know, I won't even go into any details on things, but you understand what I'm saying. So that's me. You know, I look forward to this communications class. Having been in the theater, obviously I have no problem standing up and talking. I love being in front of people. I would do it all again in a heartbeat. One little snippet, if any of you are involved in the communications department or have any other classes, when I was in college, Del McLean and Kathleen Hargrove were my classmates. So if you go up to them and you say, hey, by the way, David Yarbrough is in my class, they'll go, oh my God, David Yarbrough, are you serious? I'm friends with them on Facebook. I was in productions with them. So it's really interesting to see these people who have committed their lives to the continuation of making Southeastern a wonderful place to be that I had actually grown up with, for lack of a better word. But anyhow, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and well, I'd say we see you in class, but we'll see you in class. Thank you.